Hey everyone, it's Chef. Welcome back to Empirical Sahara, our arid African desert themed zoo. Last time we were here, we put together this little fox exhibit, which I really did not expect to be much. I thought it was just going to be a little space filler habitat, but it's turned into something that's really, really nice, and I like it a lot. I like that we've got these two different viewing galleries here that give you a totally different perspective of a fox taking a dump in some grass on one side, and then just like a completely different view of the exhibit over here on the other side. And I think it's a really nice addition to this corner of the zoo. We also put together this little food court. Although I was taking a look at this a bit after we wrapped up last time, I really do think we probably need some bathrooms over here. Right now, the bathrooms in the zoo are here, 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 and here. There's going to be one set here, but I think we probably need some over here as well. It's pretty far away from everything else, and I think it would probably be useful. But we'll solve that later on. What we need to do today is wrap up the Hamadryas Baboons, which is going to be our last true exhibit in this section of the zoo. We do also have the Egyptian fruit bats to take care of. I think we could probably knock that out at the same time that we do the food courts, and then we'll probably have one final episode that takes care of some random detailing. I want to get some reeds planted along this little river, make it look kind of lush, get a couple planter boxes in here, polish this. Oh, we put bathrooms here. You know what? With bathrooms there, maybe we could get away with not having bathrooms here, although I don't really know that it costs us anything to put more bathrooms in. We'll think about it. There's a lot of polish to do in this section of the zoo, in the Horn of Africa section, but for now, let's just stay focused on our main priorities, which is taking care of this very awkwardly shaped Hamadryas baboon habitat. So I think the way that I want to handle this one, as we just turn everything into null barrier quick, is I want to have a trench in the front, and I want to have it feel a little open. I want this entire space to be viewable, and then it's also viewable from up here, because I think that Hamadryas baboons actually don't mind guests looking at them. Yeah, they're confident, so we don't have to worry about giving them any kind of shelter. We can have this habitat be super open, we can have it feel very, expansive, and we can just have it take up this space in a really interesting way. So to start with that process, I'm going to shave off all of the barrier at the front of it so that we can dig ourselves a nice trench. And the trench is going to come all the way around this way. And then I do think I'll put just a little bit of like decoration or something here, because I don't want this section of the path to get clogged up by guests that are looking at the Hamadryas baboon, maybe trying to peek into the fox exhibit, also trying to go into the Egyptian fruit bat. This could potentially get congested if this is a viewing area, so we'll leave a bit of that closed off so that people aren't tempted to stand there and try to look in. We'll move some of these enrichment items out of the way. That climbing frame might need to go. But in general, we're going to hop into our train tool. We're going to grab our stamp. We're going to grab a ramp. We're going to rotate it. Excuse you. There we go. We're going to rotate it just a little bit. And then how high, before we do that, how high does a Hamadryas baboon fence need to be? I think it's 10 feet. It is 3 meters, so that's 10 feet. So let's grab ourselves a 4-meter, well, I think we could get away with 2-meter. And then we'll have another 2-meter fence in the front and just make sure that's not climbable. So here's a little piece of 2-meter by 2-meter breeze block. Let's get you situated right here, drop you until you're mostly in the ground. Stick you there. And then I saw random rotation on there. I definitely want to have that off if we're going to be using the train stamp tool. And then we'll give ourselves just a little wedge that hopefully goes all the way to the bottom of this piece of breeze block. So that'll be 2 meters, and then the 3rd meter is a 1-meter fence that we'll have in front of the guests. So let's see how this looks. That got pretty much to the bottom, so that is perfect. We are going to Grab a bit of flattened foundation right about here. Drag it out a little bit. And then just drag this along the path to form the bottom of where this trench is going to be. And if it's a little rough along the path, that's okay. We're going to clean it up with some concrete and mulch later, like we normally do when we're doing this style of exhibit. It's going to come down here, and then around here, and then back like this. Let's make sure we're actually staying flat with where it needs to be. We don't want to accidentally be climbing a grade here when we're trying to get our wall put in. And then we'll also trench this a little bit as well. Probably back to... Oh, what are you clipping on there? Feeder? No, the barrier. That's where your barrier is. Yeah, pull it back a little further then. We'll just go back to where the path is. Right about like that. So double check that that is still... Should probably do the gizmo for that so it doesn't try to align to height. Yeah, still 2 meters there. Let's swing it over to here. Still 2 meters. And still 2 meters. Alright, so we're in good shape with that. Let's adjust some of our barriers. We can actually get this to loop around and have it be part of the habitat. It's just not going to be a part of the habitat that guests can see into. It's going to come to about there. And then over here, this is going to wrap around to about here. Like so. So with that done, move you out of the way a little bit. We can then focus on smoothing this out. I can have stronger intensity than that. Smooth this out so that it becomes traversable for them. We don't want them to be trapped in their trench forever. We just want the trench to be a deterrent from them trying to climb out of the exhibit. Smooth along through here. And then the plan for the Hamadryas Baboons. I don't really have one. I'm not coming into this with a plan. I do know from watching a bunch of other Planet Zoo YouTubers that a lot of Hamadryas Baboon exhibits tend to be very rock-oriented, and the zoo is already pretty rock-oriented. I think it would be cool if we have the space to have like a 2-tiered exhibit, kind of the way we have the caracals, where they've got just like a narrow walking area about here, and then everything else is terraced rock in the back, so they've got a place to hang out, and then they've also got a place to wander around, but we'll see if we can actually get that implemented. We're going to get rid of that climbing. I'm actually going to get rid of all the enrichment, and we're just going to rebuild this from the ground up after we're done. So get rid of all of this stuff. We're going to do some pretty significant revisions to the way that this habitat works. So let's just start from a nice clean slate here. Grab you, grab you. So, first thing I'm thinking, back wall for sure needs to be 4 meters high. And I really like this fence that we put together for the foxes, but it's climbable. And Hamadryas baboons, reasonably sure, can climb. Yeah, we need it to be climb-proof. So that fence is not going to work. Have we had to use a climb-proof fence anywhere else in the zoo yet? We have. The sandcats, because the sandcats climb. So over there, we actually did an enclosure. The full mesh enclosure. We actually haven't had to do one. I don't want to make this a full mesh enclosure. It's going to be way too much work to try and build a mesh overhang on top of an oddly shaped exhibit. So I guess we just do rock in the back. That's plants. Why don't you move over to rocks? Biome, desert, and continent, Africa. And then sort by price. Descending, get your big rocks. So much like we did with the foxes, this is just going to be rough scaffolding. And how tall is this rock? Are you 4 meters tall? Just barely. Okay. So that should be fine. Though I'd like to make it a little taller. So what if we sink you down to here? And then we put a second rock on top of you. We sink it down just a little bit so it merges in. Something like that. That should be significantly taller than 4 meters. And it will also, yeah, it'll also give me the ability to play around a bit with some terracing inside the exhibit itself, which is what I'm really interested in doing. So let's try and run with this structure, and we can move it up and down a little bit if we want to, just to give a little bit of variation at the top of it. We also want to make sure it's hugging this path at the back fairly closely. It's going to do an excellent job of hiding that generator, which is good. We definitely don't want guests being able to see that from inside the exhibit. And then the last thing that I want to make sure I save space for, and it shouldn't be a problem against this wall, but I want to give them a little indoor space. And I want them to go in and out of the indoor space through a couple of like breeze block arches or mud wall arches. I think that would look neat. So we're going to save a little bit of room to make sure that we can do that. You guys can back up. I should also probably make this whole thing into a group in case I need to change the height on all of them. So let's do that now. And then we'll go ahead and edit this group and just keep adding onto it like that. I don't want to duplicate the whole wall. We could do that. Ooh, God. We could do that if we were concerned about going quickly. But I fear... We really just are very disagreeable today with the gizmo. My fear is that it would just look a little samey. So we're going to keep going like this, because I want it to look like there's a lot of variation. Something like that. Swing this around through here, and we're almost done already. I think this will look good. It's going to take a little bit of touch-up, but I think this will look okay. And we are, again, just flying by the seat of our pants here. I had a very, very general plan coming in with this, but a lot of it, we're just going to be playing with some shapes and seeing what comes out. It is going to make this staff path over here feel like a dang canyon, but I don't know, maybe that's kind of cool. So this is going to come all the way around here, and we want this to block guest line of sight as well. This is not a viewing gallery for baboons. You should not stop here. We'll bump it back a little bit so that I can put like some greenery and stuff in here. I think that might look kind of nice. This is also a prime spot for some more learning boards, so that we can keep guest education high. This is a franchise zoo after all. So we have to play with all of the normal game mechanics and game constraints. Well, you don't have to, but I think it's neat trying to build a successful zoo while also operating under the parameters of the game itself. So we're going to. One of these, and then one more right about here that we can actually sink down pretty far, because it's going to connect to a wall there. Okay, so that's rough shape. I guess let's get a couple in over here as well. We are going to have to build a little bespoke fence area for the keeper gate. But that shouldn't be a problem. We'll probably just end up using like some breeze brick or some plaster or something like that, just as something really simple that's not climbable. And then we don't want to carry these too far along because we don't want them to block the view from the hyena viewing gallery. So I think they're going to run to about here. And then they'll taper off a little bit about here. And from this point in the habitat, we'll have the fences do the work. So from here, we should probably move those benches. From here, you get a really nice view all the way down the exhibit. From here, you can see the water pump, which is a little annoying, but I think we can fix that with some detailing around the keeper gate. From down here, you can also see down most of the exhibit. I think that's pretty good. So next thing that we need to do is we need to come up with a bespoke 1 meter fence design. So the portion of the fence that is designed to keep baboons out needs to be at least that tall. And then everything above it can be decorative. I'm kind of into the idea of using breeze block for it. Of having it look like a, I don't know, like a stone wall or a stone barrier or something like that. So let's grab our concrete. And because money isn't really a concern for us at this point, I'm just going to use the giant 2x4 piece, even though we don't necessarily need that much concrete. We're going to lower it down about to where the breeze block is. We'll leave a little bit of earth at the bottom. We can do a little bit of growing and stuff like that. And then we'll start over here. Shouldn't leave that much earth, though. And then we'll just start dragging. Does that really still look like 2 meters to you? It is. It doesn't look like it, but it is. Alright, fair enough. Should also change the color on this before you get too far, otherwise you're going to have to recolor all of them. Yeah, that's true. Merge this into a group, and then change the color on it. Let's go for like a nice dirt tone. And then we'll just keep this as a group. It'll make our lives much more convenient in the future. So especially for this habitat, which is a super funky shape, the corresponding wall, the earthen wall that's going to hold the dirt in and also hold the baboons in, we want to be an equally funky shape. We are very okay with this exhibit looking highly irregular, because it is highly irregular. So at almost every opportunity we have, I'm going to be turning these walls. Sometimes just to put a little random variation in them, sometimes to put a lot of random variation in them. But I want to really try and limit the number of smooth faces that we have that are longer than 2 meters. It's going to be a pretty tight corner, but it'll work. Bend this one in just a little bit. Also, if you can hear any kind of like wind or noise on the microphone today, I apologize. It is a wonderful day outside today. So I've got both windows in the home office open. But it's also a little breezy. So you might pick up a couple wind noises here and there, a couple bird noises here and there, but we're making a zoo. Sometimes it's about the ambience. just do one little straight segment there. Sometimes when you're making something that's irregular, the presence of regularity itself can be a little irregular. We'd really like to move this a little further to the path here. We're taking up a lot of space in the trench that we don't really need to be taking up. So let's get some more turns in here. That's more like it. There we go. And then I think for the partially decorative wall that's going to be on top, we'll have the first meter B breeze block. There's kind of a sub-theme of breeze block throughout this section of the zoo with the curbs that we have backed by the Somali wild ass and the American standard donkey. And then on top of that, I want to use like some big pieces of wooden post. Because I like the way that that wood motif came out in the red fox fence. I really like that fence a lot. Keep on turning. Keep on turning even more. And then very sharp. We're going to rotate around here. Turn it in just a little bit. And then we'll start turning it in a lot to join up with this rock. And there we go. So this alone is insufficient for holding the baboons in. But it does form the basis of the fence that's going to hold them in. What I want to do at this point is actually put in the mulch. Because I don't think I'm going to build the breeze block wall directly on top of that retaining wall. Well, maybe I should, though. Because if they can climb up on this thing, then they're also going to be able to climb over the next fence that I build, unless I make that fence 3 meters. Which I guess I could also do. Like, this was a 3-meter fence, and it came out fine. I don't want to repurpose it. I want to build a new one. But it came out fine. I just want to get it a little closer to the path. Well, I would like to get it a little closer to the path. But I also don't want monkeys to come up into the mulch area. Yeah, I'm gonna build it on top. You really should have done this like completely differently in that case. Yeah, okay. I know that you just watched me place all of this wall for like, 10 minutes. We're gonna change the way this works. We need to build I think we need to build the entire fence segment in one. Otherwise, it is not going to do its stated purpose of holding the baboons into the exhibit, which, is functionally what a fence should do. So we're going to get rid of all this. We're going to save the fact that it's a group. We're just going to build it out of this section of wall here. So let's get a little bit of rotation on you. And then if we're going to build you out taller, I can pull you a little closer to the dirt. Let's say you can go to right about here. Okay. Then get some of your breeze block columns. How's 4 meters looking? 4 meters, pretty tall. I think you could get away with another 2 meters. You're going to pull it forwards by about half. Now, you know what? You can't do 4 meters here because you're also going to sink this into the ground a bit. Let's say to about here. Should be a fairly imposing fence that's difficult to climb. Stick you there. Wood plank. Wood plank. I want a thick plank. Plank. Thick. This is just going to be for decoration on top of the wall. It's going to help it look like something that's a little more substantial. So we'll get you sunken in like this. Change your color to something much darker. How does full black work? That's way too dark. Something like that's probably good. I would also like to do breeze block column. We'll do 2 meters. We're going to rotate you like this. And we're going to pull you down in front of this concrete. Well, you place that. We'll pull you down in front of this concrete. Just to form like a little bump out at the front. Give it a little bit of dimension to it. You did say you wanted this to look different from the Fox exhibit, and you're currently thinking, man, glass would look really good in this. Because you do need something that they can't climb over. What did you do in the top half of the Fox fence? Mesh. Okay, you can still make it look different. We can use glass here and it'll be okay. Glass. That's grass. Try again. Glass. Give me a 2 meter. It doesn't need to be one way. And you're going to have that come through like this. Bring it up a little bit. Maybe do about there. And then you're going to want a post. No, beam. You want the round one. 2 meter beam. You can go with thick there, actually. Yeah, that'll look much better. 2 meter thick beam. Sink it into the middle. Get it to join up on the top. Something like that. Change your color as well. This one I think you can have look a bit more like, you know, sandy dirt. Duplicate you. You can come over to this side. It needs to be a little further over. There you go. And then, how are you going to do the top? Square beam painted. You could, yeah. It's going to look weird with that post unless you do something like this. And then you would bring this post up a little bit. Like this. It still hides the join in the glass, which was the point. Nah, you need to pull it back a little bit. Say something like that is probably pretty good, and then we'll just acknowledge that it's going to look weird from the back. Actually, we could have it rise above the post ever so slightly, and that would look fine. Actually, we can have it rise above the post a bit. And then if we take a thin beam and we put this at the top above that, then we can kind of make it look like it is something. So how do we feel about that as just a shape? I want you to be a little darker for some contrast. And then you, maybe we could make gray so that you look like a piece of metal. I don't think that looks half bad. I don't think that looks half bad at all. So copy this over to here. And then this whole group... Wow, you actually got it to stay on the grid too. That's insane. I thought for sure when we tried to copy this thing, it was going to lose its mind about being dragged around. There's so many different angles going on here. But I think I'm actually going to be able to join these up really nicely. Oh, that's great. I'm not convinced that the top is exactly how I want it to work yet, so I guess before we copy and paste too many of these down. Maybe this doesn't need to be this tall. Maybe you can come down. Something like that. That should still be 3 meters. I mean, we can check. It's 4 meters from the bottom of the trench. Yeah, I think that should be fine. So we're going to select this entire thing and make it not climbable. We're going to disable the climbing toggle on that. And then this is going to be our wall. So we're going to do the same thing we did last time with the concrete, except we can be a little more lenient now with how close it gets to the path, because we know that we have a little extra height baked into it. And we'll just focus on getting these joins to be nice and clean, but this should look really, really good. I don't love that we're using glass instead of just making it feel a little more open, but I think the baboons are going to be too good at climbing for me to really figure out a good way of keeping them in a reasonable amount of time. Like, this is one of those things where, you know, if I wasn't recording a video for it, I could sit here and fiddle with it for like 2 hours until I got an airy looking fence that made it look like it wasn't part of an enclosure. But the pressure of time that comes with doing this as a recording leads you to make different decisions. God, it's actually really, it's so easy to get our joins on this. What a forgiving blueprint. So you can go now. We don't need you here anymore. Duplicate you along here. And I think at this point, this is actually going to be the end of this fence. I'll square it off just a little bit more with the path. Everything else past here, guests that are on the hyena viewing gallery are going to be able to see over it. Like, if we drag it down here, it doesn't do anything for it. So instead, I'm going to grab just this guy, bring him over and bring him up to about here. And this is just going to be the back wall of the exhibit. I'll even pull it up a bit so that it lines up with the stone. I can very slightly rotate you to get you to do what I want, I think. You're not going to be able to. You're going to have to do this, and then you're going to have to do this. I see what you're going for there. It's just not going to work out exactly how you want it to. Maybe we actually say that's fine. maybe that's good enough. But we also don't want this one to come too far up the hill, because we still need to be mindful of our Hamadryas Baboon's climbing restrictions. So we'll just have this follow the curve of the trench. Slowly bring it back in. We can start it turning back a little bit now. And then you join up with the wall right about here. So how's that look from the top of the viewing gallery? Really nice. You can still see into the entire exhibit from here. So that's good. We don't really see any kind of viewing concerns from that angle. Let's keep working along the other side. Making sure that all of our joins are looking good. We don't have to worry too much about the bottom, because the bottom is going to get covered in mulch. And we're just going to make sure that we're following the same kind of curvature that the path has. Get your join right. That's pretty good. A very sharp turn here. And a pretty sharp turn. And then after this, we should be able to put barriers back in. I don't like how this is coming together. We might do a small rock there, just to help mask that join, because it's coming together a little awkward. So let's keep going this way instead. One, two, three. You should turn a little bit, I think. Turn just a little bit here. And then we'll slide a rock over to meet you there. Yeah, this, I'm just gonna fill it with a rock. We could build like a little custom extension out to space fill that, but I think it's easier to take the lazy solution. Just dump a rock in there. And then under here, have a second one. And over here, have a third one. Although that looks like it might be. You know what? We'll find out. We'll find out if that's climbable later on. Give me plaster over in the construction menu. Give me a 2 meter by 4 meter plastic. Get it situated the way that I want it to. Angle snap me. There we go. This is going to be very temporary. It's just so that we can draw the barriers in and figure out what's climbable and what's not climbable in the exhibit. So plunk you here. Plunk you here. And then give me the 2x1. Just fill in like this. So that should now be a sealed exhibit. I really like the way the shape has come out. Very pleased with that so far. Let's see if it actually works. Your null barrier is over here. Run it along this fence. sure you're hugging the fence itself, so that if you want to put some nice plants in the mulch that aren't necessarily the baboon's biome, that it doesn't get irritated by that. Over here, over here, back to here, and then connect up right about here. Oh, you should also probably fix that. that looks like it might also be an issue. Let's just get a little rock in here. It's maybe a bit much. Okay. We will briefly unpause. None of the guests seem to have noticed that the baboons escaped while we were in pause, and then we're going to go into habitat, traversable area. No, wow. No escapes, first try. That's beautiful. Also grab some free money. No escapes possible. That's wonderful. We do need to smooth out a couple spots here so that it's actually traversable for them. Which, it might be faster to just use push. We can turn the intensity down for that. It'll also just help to make the habitat look a little more irregular. Push some of these spots down, some of these spots. Push down a bit over here. There's a big ridge over here that we can get rid of. And then in the back here we can pull a bit. Make it look like it rises as you go to the back. And then we'll also just scatter some random pull through the middle of the exhibit. Let's get it looking a little irregular. Yeah? Good. So, next steps. Double check that that's still not escapable for them, for whatever reason, maybe. Also that you cleared up these diamonds. Beautiful. Just beautiful overall. Finished vet research. Taina, good. Everybody's working productively. So next thing to do is clean up this rock wall. I want to see how far I can push it before they start to be able to climb out the back. So ideally, I have a rock that's about this tall. They can't even climb onto that, huh? Maybe they're worse at climbing. Well, that's a juvenile. Check an adult. Maybe they're much worse at climbing than I thought. Like a lot worse at climbing than I thought. Interesting. Turn random rotation back on. The idea here is that I want to give them some little rock plateaus that they can sit on. Because that's what I see most Hamadryas baboons doing when I look at them in like reference pictures and stuff. They're just always chilling out on rocks. So we want this to come out a pretty significant distance. How are we looking for traversability? Okay, now they can get up onto all of that, but they cannot get out. Great news. I think I can get pretty liberal with these plateaus then. The other thing that I want to build in is I want to build in their shelter, as long as I'm here thinking about it. As much as I would love to use the mud wall arch, I don't actually want the design on it. I want it to look really simple. So we're going to go with breeze block instead. And I'm going to give them a double arch that is sunk a little bit into the ground. Something like this. We'll check and make sure that this is zookeeper traversable, but I also want it to be able to get seen from every corner of the exhibit. So obviously you can see it from here, you can see it from up on the platform, you can see it from over here. You can only kind of see it from here, but if I move it back a little bit, that should take care of it and maybe give it a small rotate, like that. Yeah, that's seeable from everywhere. So we do 2 of those. And then we just have a breeze block wall that goes straight back. We're going to keep it gridded. It's not going to be anything fancy. It's not big enough to poke out the back. That's good. I actually think they might need more hard shelter than that. I'll do a 3rd arch. So they're just going to get something like that. And then for roofs, we're going to do flat. Probably just give them a corrugated roof. No, that looks kind of ugly. Is this the time for a thatch roof? No, it's not the time for a thatch roof. It might be the time for an asphalt roof. Although I might have it sloped just a little bit. Something like this. And then something like this. And I'm going to raise these rocks up just a little bit. Group edit. Like here. And like here. And you can come up a little bit more too. On the sides of these, I've really liked the way that the log wall looks. Oh, we could have done log wall. Nah, I think it would have been weird. Walls. Log wall soap. Wrong group. Well, I'd like to add to the group. Enter group edit. There we go. You're going to come in here. You're going to come in here. You're going to go here. You're going to go here. You're going to come here. You're going to come here. And you need to move in 1. So super simple. And then I'll probably put a couple of shades out the front of it. And then inside, we're just going to give them a ton of bedding. Beds and shelters, give me medium habitat bedding, just smear it all over the back of this thing. This is where they can come inside to sleep. So that's their little shelter. We're going to build out some rocks along the side of it as well. So it doesn't look quite so jarring, just sticking out like that. Also, I gotta change the name of this group. Hamadryas Baboon back. There we go. Much, much better. If you know, you know. I don't think I want a tall rock there. I think this can be a plateau. So we'll do a plateau about here. We'll have this one come down a little bit. This one come down a little bit. I think this is going to give me that terracing effect that I was looking for. We'll evaluate it at the end, and we're probably going to have to tweak a lot of this to make sure that it's traversable, but also that the baboons aren't using it to get to places where they're not allowed to go. But I think that's going to give me the look that I wanted it to have, which is nice. I want it to have a really gradual slope that comes down to the front of the exhibit. Rotate you around. Let's get you to hug the side of this rock wall. You can be floating a little bit because we're going to come in here with desert rock. Get a plateau about here. Try and get you a little higher up than your friends just to see how that works. And like we did with the fox exhibit, we can put enrichment items all along these rocks at the back, and that's going to incentivize the baboons to come up there and explore, poke around, and just spend some time on the elevated parts of the exhibit. Which I think is going to be good. We do want to make sure it's not so tall over here that it blocks viewing. It doesn't currently. Raise this part up to about there. Out of here. Down to here. I'll just put in the upper level of where I want the plateau all at once. Just sketch all of that in, and then we can work on the terrace and gradation down to ground level in the habitat. And then they do need climbing enrichment, and I think our opportunity for climbing enrichment is going to be giving them a whole series of like wooden platforms that allow them to just get up to these things in specific places. All right, so that's our first level of terraces. We'll start putting in some supplementary layers now. Bring you down a little bit. Bring you down. And I think this whole side might be rock. So let's just draw a line quick. That goes from here over to here. And then we'll fill this in with gradually increasing slopes of big flat rocks. Hit there that I want to take care of. There's also a little gap here. Right. So I'm not totally in love with it yet, but I also haven't planted it yet. We have some space over here for some kind of other focus, maybe. I think we could be pretty safe to build a pile of rocks here, even though it blocks the view to the shelter, because it incentivizes guests to move around it. So let's grab a giant rock. And then around it, we're just going to scatter lower rocks. And then you're gradually going to step down into the trench. Something like that. So this is one that they can climb on and around that's relatively close to where the guests are. We'll get a little bit of variation on this thing. So it doesn't just look like a giant rock plopped in the middle of nowhere. Decorate out some of the sides. All right, so the last big thing that they should need is climbing. Let's double check traversability, make sure they can't escape somehow. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, it's beautiful. How's your size of your exhibit doing? 1238 of 620. They have so much room. But they also need climbing. So let's start getting climbing in. I would like a way for them to be able to climb to the top of this rock. So let's get a... Let's get a climbable platform like here. We can make this their main little climbing structure. You can go here. We're not going to need random rotate. Thank you, though. We'll give them some climbable logs as support. That they can also climb on. So that's one of them. Then can I get like a 2 meter by 2 meter? No, but I can make a 2 meter by 2 meter. I'd actually make like a 2 meter by 6 meter if I wanted to. Something like that. We'll have this one be held up by some posts. And then I'll have like one more over here. At about this level. And then I just have to figure out how to connect all of them. Which is not... I haven't really thought about that yet. But we'll figure something out. You're going to come down to about there. You're going to come down to about here. Yeah, so now how do they get from platform to platform? Have you gotten lucky and can they just do it, like, naturally? It kind of. So they can climb up these to get onto those, but I don't necessarily like the way that looks. Can the juveniles do it? Are you a yeah, you're a juvenile. You can as well. Okay. Okay. I think the answer is going to be a bunch of 4x1s that work as like little highways. Like stick one here and then rotate it. So that's how they can get onto this one. I mean, besides just, you know, climbing up it. Oh, that could be kind of fun. Yeah, what if it comes off the side like this? Hold on. There's something to this. Oh, there's definitely something to this. Yeah, it just goes around the back. So pull it up a little bit. And then maybe pull it in a little bit so you can't necessarily see how ugly that joint is. Wait. And then up here, you can actually just move this platform around. So that it joins up nice. Pull it back to about here and then lift it up a little bit. It's not really married to where it is. Something like that. So they can just walk up to this one. They can climb on this one, and then they can walk up to this one. How much climbing do you see in here? 52? Oh my god, we hit it already. I do want to make this exhibit a little bigger, though. So we're going to need to give them a little bit more climbing opportunities, but I love how this came out. Double check and make sure that they can't escape. I don't know why you're so paranoid about it, but just keep making sure. Yeah, they can't. Okay, good. Where else do you want to let them climb? You could give them like 3 platforms back here, I guess. It's habitat. It's the last. It's okay. Just click on a. Yeah. There you go. So we can do like this. Maybe they only need 2 of these. Maybe we don't need to overdo it. Because I do want the rocks to be something that they use as well. I don't want it to just be climbing platforms, and these 4x4s seem to give them a pretty decent amount of climbing space. So you can have one of these. And then you can have this as your way up onto it. How much do you have now? 76? Okay, we actually only need 1. That's perfect. Now, let's give them the rest of their enrichment that we took away. So we don't need climbing, but we do want to give them reasons to come up here and explore these platforms. So we'll give them a cardboard box up here. We'll sink it so that you can't see the little Planet Zoo icon. There you go. Block of ice we could put up here. Grab ball we could put over here. And then how about some stuff that's not on platforms? So that they have to explore rocks as well. We can give a little fruit tree planter over here. Maybe a second one over here. Because they need a lot of food enrichment. Regular old gift box. You can come over here and play with that. Jelly cake. They're going to need a lot of these too. Hopefully we get more food enrichment for the baboons. How about if you make it all the way to the top of the tower, you get a tasty jelly? There's no way that a keeper can reach that. What are you thinking? Also, you added all of those to the rock wall group. That's true. Be a little more careful with that in the future. How about you can have a jelly cake like down here on the ground? You could put a sprinkler on top here, though. Or you could put it on the rock. Yeah, put it on the rock, and then it kind of hits all of them. It also gives them a nice little place to cool off if they need to. So spike tree, gift box, grab ball, sprinkler, veggie cake are all in. Block of ice, cardboard boxes in. These are all just climbable stuff. Fruit trees in. They'll need a water pipe. You might want to give them 2 water pipes, just because there's a lot of them in here. So you can put one of them over here. And then you can put the other one up over here. And then just in case they get hungry, I can only give them arboreal feeding stations. Really? Okay. Then I guess I'll give them an arboreal feeding station that goes, like, here. And I'll just build a little structure on top of it so that it looks like a thing. Yeah, put some path under that. We're going to build our own bespoke solution. There you go. I guess give me the 4-meter one if we're going to build a bespoke version. Clear the path. Grab your concrete wall. Could probably get away with 2-meter by 2-meter here. Have it come up until it just covers the edges. Change the color on this. We'll give it a nice white so it contrasts from the walls for the habitat itself. And then we'll just need a little ramp to get up there. What do we have for wood? Do I have a non-grid log wall? I do. I don't love it. I really don't love it. I would rather use a beam. Beam square painted. Because this I can make look like stairs. Put it right about there. Line it up with the top of the concrete. Change the color on it. This wall needs to move in just a little bit. And then we take you, we go duplicate. Bring it out halfway, drop it down a little bit. Bring it down, drop it down a little bit. Bring it down, drop it down a little bit. There you go. It's a little lopsided, but it's good enough for our purposes. And then take this concrete wall. Turn off your angle snap. And we're going to get it to roughly follow the slope of these stairs. I need a little bit less. There it is. You go like that. Over here. You go like that. We sink this one down just a little bit. And we could actually get rid of that one completely now that I look at it. There we go. Little feeding box for the baboons. So, let's start figuring out how to get some nature in here. We have to do both the inside and the outside. So it's going to be quite a bit of work. Starting me off with Old Reliable, our Nitrario. Give me some real big ones to stick in the back here. We want this to look nice and verdant. I can turn random rotation on again. We want it to look nice and green back here. What's your tolerance for plants? Decent. We can't go crazy with it, but we can get quite a bit. We should be in good shape. I think underneath these platforms is a really neat opportunity to have a bunch of it, because there'd be a lot of nice shade down here. They're having trouble with this ramp. Hold on. Oh, they're really having trouble with this. They don't like... Well, maybe they just need to adjust because we just put it all in. We'll see. I don't like that anytime they get near it, they're getting boxed up. We might need to fiddle with that a bit. We'll see how bad the problem gets. But usually they get grumpy if it's not, like, traversable in the right way. You may need to try and wiggle some things around. Scimitar Horned Oryx is about to die of old age. That's acceptable. We also got another prize. Increase ADAX education to 12. Sure, don't mind if I do. We don't really need the money, but I'll take it. And then in and around these rocks, we'll just have a little bit poking out. And then at the join between the rocks and the dirt in the habitat, we'll have more. I'd say a little something like that is probably pretty good. We definitely want to have a lot around the feeder box. And then we definitely want to have some around the big climbing rock. Probably some over here too. And then over in this corner, by the water. And then how are you feeling about plants in here? Almost at max. Alright. So we can't add a lot more, but I'd also say this is pretty good so far. Let's see what our new vet research is. We're done with caracals. Lovely. Please, somebody get onto the Hamadryas Baboon and let me know if they have any extra food enrichment items. How much am I missing for you guys? Wow, a lot. Okay, good. There's at least 4 food enrichment items that we might get out of that. That's good. We have room for maybe like 2 more trees that are on the bigger side. I think a Sudanese frankincense would look nice over here, kind of flanking one side of the exhibit. Is that overwhelming you? Not yet. Good. Do another. I think one would look nice next to their house. Maybe rotate it a little bit. Yeah, that's the one. How are you feeling? Still good. And then I think everything else in here should probably be drin grass. And we can go a little over plants if we need to. It's not like it's going to crater their animal welfare. But I'd rather not unless I have a reason to. Give me one more, like, signature plant. Dragon's Blood tree? Is now the time for a giant Dragon's Blood tree? Is now the time for a giant Quiver tree? Now might be the time for a giant Quiver tree. With a bit of drin grass and then like 1 Nitraria bush underneath it. It's because there's not really anything in that space, and I just want something for people to look at. You did put it right in front of the viewing gallery that you wanted to let them see into the habitat, so maybe let's fix that. slide it back to like here. Yeah, that's better. And then what is your what's your terrain preferences like in here? We're almost out of grass short. They don't really care about anything else. So terrain, painting. I'm going to put some grass around the rocks. And then, and also like in the trench. The trench is where we can get a lot of good grass short in. But for their actual paths that they take, I think I would rather use light soil. So there's going to be a path from their water into their houses, over to the food box, and then around to that, which means this should probably be grass. This should probably be grass. Those aren't places that we'd really expect them to walk all that much. And then they'd probably walk over to here. And that's about it. I really wish that I could dump a ton of Nitraria into this trench, but since I can't, I might dump a ton of rock into that trench, because I don't just want it to look like smooth, uneven grass. What if you use red rock? Is now the time for red rock? No, I want something that looks a little more jagged on the top. Maybe one of you. Maybe one of you. This might be a rare case of random rotate all. Just to fill this trench in. And then probably align these to the world axis. Are you liking that? It kind of, but also kind of not. It's okay. Oh, I really want to put Nitraria in there, man. Let me, I'm just gonna look at it, okay? I just wanna see. Turn all of your random rotations off. Get like one, not a dead Nitraria. Oh, I like it so much better. Alright, fine. Do this until they get grumpy. It looks so much better. In my estimation. If you're watching this and you're like, God, it looks so much worse. I value your opinion. But I also really like how this looks. They're going to be cheesed off at the amount of Nitraria that's in here. I can tell from how much I'm putting down. But it looks so good that I might just have to tell them to deal with it. Alright, how mad are you guys about that? They're not bad. Let's go. Okay. Perfect. I think that's pretty close to being it then. Oh, there's a small area of trench over here that I also need to do. Just grab another random section of this. If they get mad, we can delete like one Sudanese frankincense tree. I think it's worth it. I think it's really worth it. I'm really liking how this is coming out. Yeah, now they're mad. Okay, get rid of this. This tree is not necessary. We can get rid of that. Still mad. I can get rid of, like, some of the Nitraria back here, I guess. I can get rid of, like, this Nitraria. Still mad. I could get rid of this Nitraria. Still mad. I could get rid of some of this green grass. I don't think that's strictly necessary. They're happy again. Okay. We can't do any more or they're going to get irritated. But I'm pretty happy with that. I really like how this looks. It's very dynamic. There's baboons jumping all over the place. They can get all the way out onto this rock. I haven't seen anybody get put in... I'm not sure what his plan was. I haven't seen anybody get put into a box recently. So I think we're in business on that. We haven't had crime lately. That's also nice. I think this is good. I wish that this was a little less barren. I just don't think that there's much like... Oh, God. Oh, it's so good. They're having such a nice time. I should give them like one thing up here as a little reward. But we still have a lot of research to do for them. We might end up getting something. I really like how much climbing they have to do in and around this rock. I think that's great. Okay, so next up, all of the decoration on the outside. Mulch time. We have the habitat in a good place. Now it's time to get the viewing experience for the habitat to also be in a good place. Angle snap, do not. You aren't necessary here. They're just going to follow the outside. Cover up all of these disgusting seams in our terrain. It's coming in under the brick. That's perfect. I didn't even line that height up, but I got lucky. It's actually really nice. The seam between the terrain and the mulch isn't even that bad. You could probably also let it play. Yeah, that's true. Excuse me, why are you trying to angle snap? What the heck? There we go. Yeah, it's getting a little bad over here, but that's okay. The mulch is just to hide the terrain seam. It doesn't necessarily need to be everywhere. So I'm not even bothering to rotate it that much in some places. You can barely see it under here anyway. Nice balloon. Thank you for supporting the zoo. Inspector arriving soon. Wow, almost no train seams over here. Good times. You should double check one more time that your baboons can't walk out of this thing after you put all those rocks up front. Yeah, they can't. Good. What's your space like? 1228 to 620? It's actually like so much bigger than they need, but it's fine because we weren't going to do anything else with that space anyway. So, I think now is the time that we actually need to polish up this other edge of the hyena viewing gallery. Which means bringing this plaster out. Turning it into a curb. Like this. And then crossing our fingers. Cooperates, lovely. So this is going to slide all the way along here. about here. We want to bring these two across to here. We'll raise the height a little bit. And then we want to bring all of this across to form the edge. Lovely. These benches aren't really serving a purpose anymore. So I think they need to move to here, because people aren't really going to be viewing from there. This is where you can come to take a load off. And I would be happy to move, or maybe even duplicate the sunshade for you, so that you can still use this to get out of the heat a bit. You need to raise it a bit so the palm trees are under it. There you go. I'm going to reconfigure how this works the more I look at it. I almost wonder... we could do like an elevated garden here. Grab a bit of this, angle snap it, duplicate it, spin it 90, pull it to about here. And then pull this back to about here. And then get your mulch. Slide your mulch into position about here. Get yourself a tiny little space filler there. Do I have a 1x1? I do have a 1x1. There it is. You just hide this tiny piece of mulch. It's you. Oop. There we go. I don't really know what I'm going to put there at this point. It's actually kind of unfortunate because I bet what would fit really nice there. Ah, it's a little too big. Okay. I'm not going to cry about it then. A little exhibit would fit really neat in that spot, but just not to be. And then we're also going to pull some rocks over here. No, my filters. Desert. Africa. We will add this to the baboon wall. But we're just going to sink them down a little bit so it looks like there's something here that isn't a massive gap. Something like that. Neat. Put a small fence in here, probably. Give me like a post. I feel like I'm getting extremely distracted by... No, it's beam. Beam is the round one. I feel like I'm getting very distracted and not finishing the baboon exhibit, but, you know, whatever. Stick you about here. Change your color. That should not be part of the rock wall. Hold on. Split that from the group. Give you a nice little wood paint job, and then where's my rope? It's been a long time since we used rope. This will want to angle snap. You're gonna come around to here. You're gonna come down to here. Back over to here. We want you to be just barely above that rock, I guess. No, that doesn't look good. That's fine. And then you can just move this rock down a little bit. So it's not clipping the rope. And then grab this and this. Merge them into a group. And then duplicate them along. You rotated the heck out of that rope, so you're going to need to do a little bit of manual repositioning. But that's okay, we can survive that. And it just about joins up. I think you're going to have to fudge it a little bit. But, like, that works. And it just makes it look a little more closed off, so the guests know that they aren't supposed to go over there. Then we go nature. I'm going to use buffalo grass here just because it looks a little thicker, and I kind of want this area to feel verdant. Would be a really neat green roof to like a keeper's hut or something like that. Then take me back into desert Africa. Take me to gardening. And get a little bit of King Protea in here. Now we don't need random rotation on anymore, thank you though. Probably don't need angle snap on either. Definitely don't need angle snap on. Have a couple aloe vera. Have a big aloe vera. That's a nice little viewing gallery to look out onto the baboons. And then as we come down here, let's go back to using drin grass, so it's a little drier. Let's go back to random rotation on. And we don't want to get too close to the wall here, because we know that if we accidentally clip into the baboon exhibit, they're going to get grumpy about the fact that there's too many plants in there. So we're mostly going to hang back from the wall specifically. Transition into using medium instead of large as we progress through here. We'll leave a couple spaces. We can put some rocks in there if we need to. We'll get a couple nitraria bushes in there like we always do. And I think this is a prime candidate for coming through after I'm done recording this episode and spending like another hour and a half putting in a bespoke breeze block curb along this path. I think with the breeze block wall element as well, it's going to make this look really nice. Give me a medium green drin grass over here. Just by the rock as a little treat. We'll come back through here with medium. Lower it down a bit, just so it doesn't all look the same height. Go through here, all through here. Now give me the smallest nitraria you've got. come in here and do a little more space filling with it. Through here. A little bit of it here and here. Some here, a little bit over here. Really just smeared around a bit. And then everywhere that there's still gaps after this, we'll put rock. Out here we can start to use a slightly bigger bush. Be a dead one too. That's way too big. Also, this is probably a candidate for like an actual tree over here. Date palm may be a little too big. I'd rather it not hang into the exhibit, so maybe rotate it a little bit. Well, something like that, though. It's pretty good. Right, and then give me rocks. Give me a small rock. We'll just come through here, get a little bit of rocks down. Have these fill up some space. This is red desert rock 14. Give me normal desert rock 14. Add some color variation in here. And maybe just hide a couple back here. It's looking pretty good. I think I'm happy with that. Let the sim run for a bit. Focus on getting these set up. How is that looking for speaker range? You could go a little bigger. Get it about right there. Drop this guy into the ground. Pull it back from the path a little bit. Maybe like that. Over here, this audio range should be fine because we just checked it. Oh no, don't move. Advanced move, please. Put this down. Where's the animal talk point? We don't have an animal talk point for the baboons. Huh. Okay. Let's get one of those added in. You can go right about there. What do we call these? Some animal talk? Red fox talk. Okay. So this is Hamadryas Baboon talk. Your content is Hamadryas Baboon. And then we are going to add that to our work zone. Okay. I guess I forgot to check research for a while. So, American Standard Donkey, what did we get? In theory, we got 2 new toys, but I'd be surprised. Let's just go double check. Enrichment, filter. Yeah, not seeing anything new for you, bucko. Although you are a little annoyed that you don't have enough food enrichment. So why don't you just take a barrel feeder? There you go. That'll cheer you up. Who else did you get? Hamadryas Baboon was definitely one, and then I think Hyena was the other one. So baboons, enrichment. New is a roller feeder. And then also new is a block of frozen fruit. Okay, so they do have stuff. Good. You can have a roller feeder right here. I don't want it to be a part of this group. I also don't want it to deform the terrain like that. So let's go ahead and put a path down. Enrichment items, roller feeder. There you go. And then you also got block of frozen fruit. Dude, they love fruit. How about over here? You don't really have any reason to climb on the rock back here, so I'll give you one. Alright, so I think that was everything for the Hamadryas Baboons that we got for research. Do I see anything else new in here when we go to all? No. And then we also got a research for our striped hyenas. Did you guys get anything fun and exciting? Oh, you did! Rotation line feeder, prey stick, and a bubble machine, and a chew toy? Oh man, you got everything. Let's give you a reason to come over and play on this rock, maybe? Give you one of those. A prey scented stick, I feel like would be very fun for the guests to watch. So how about we stick that over here? And then a rotation line feeder we can put over here. I don't think I really care that it deforms the terrain there. But you guys got all kinds of fun stuff. Lucky you. Okay. Good researching. Ah. No, that might have been because you just put the path down. We'll keep an eye on it. I don't think I need to make any immediate changes. And then we need to add you to the work group. Work zones. This is going to be Horn of Africa guest services, because our animal talk points are a guest service function now. Also, those are not in any work zone right now. I believe, yeah. Restrooms are guest services, so we'll add that. That's taken care of. And then we need to check your audio range. You can go a little bigger. Yeah, you should be good right there. And then we'll sink you into the ground. Right. So that is Hamadryas Baboons done. It is August 18th. I do want to make sure that we do some basic zoo upkeep before we're done. So I'm going to pause one last time, and we're going to go and check in on all of our animals one by one. Actually, we'll run through it this way. We'll just actually go look at the exhibits. Camels, how you doing? 98, 100, 194. And then what is your population like? Do I have an easy way to get to that from here? No, I think you do have to do it from the zoo panel just so it's easier. Dromedaries. We should probably get rid of this male. I think we put you on contraceptives and we put you on contraceptives. We take you off contraceptives and we wait until you are fertile again, and then we quick trade you because you're from the frontier zoo. We can't release you to the wild. Actually, you're domesticated. We can't release you to the wild no matter what. And then Jamal will be our new breeding camel. We'll get a couple new ones in, and then we could probably get rid of these 3 females. But we don't have juvenile camels anymore, so we're okay letting them breed for a year. Over here in Adaxes, we have one. You're in the trade center. You're too old. I'm gonna quick trade you. We have 3 Adaxes that are all from Empirical Sahara, and then one that's not. I think we can let you safely breed again for another year. How are you looking on wellness? Full 100s. You're fine. You finally figured out how to use the privacy screen. That's wonderful. Over here for the scimitar horned oryx, we have a bit of a sketchy breeding population. You need to get released. And then we need to get a new male scimitar horned oryx in here. Reset filters, scimitar horned oryx. Male. Do I want to spend 500 on like a nice one? I'll spend 250 on a nice one. He's got good genes except for fertility. He's gold. I'll take that. We are kind of flush with credits right now, so why not? Sandcats. How are we doing over here? We just had a new litter, which is nice. God, look at how popular they are. Oh my god. Okay, we should contraceptive you. We should contraceptive you, and we should try to get a new one. Do I have any? Because you're kind of old. Do I have any sandcats in my animal storage right now? I do, but I think we're just holding you. Sandcat. I need a good male sandcat. Sandcat. 252, a little steep. 58. I think I could justify 100. I could justify 100, no problem. Those are great genes. Let's go ahead and adopt you. But I'm going to leave you in the trade center for a while because we don't need you immediately. We're going to wait for those sandcats to mature first. Our African spurred tortoises are doing great. I'm going to just make sure that you don't try and breed. We actually have so many tortoises. I don't think I ever need to touch them again because they live forever. The fennec foxes, which historically have been a big problem trying to manage. We just started a new pack and everybody's still young. Good. Probably don't need to touch them at all. So that is Arid Sahara. And then let's move on to how Horn of Africa is doing. How are my spotted hyenas? My striped hyenas? Doing okay. I think I can let you breed again and put you on contraceptives. I'd like to get a new female so that we can use that one as our alpha going forwards, but I'd like one that's from Empirical Sahara. So you guys can start breeding again. Somali wild ass. You guys are doing just fine. We probably could stand to get rid of a couple of you. I think I'm going to leave them for now. I think they're okay. We'll probably need to do something with that in like a year or two, but for now they're fine. American Standard Donkey. You guys are also fine. Probably don't need to touch you for a while. The caracals are fine. I remember we dealt with them last time, and we can only have 2 anyway. Yeah, they're perfect. No issues with those. And then the foxes. No, not those foxes. Red foxes. There's so many. What is going on here? They... Are you, melanistic? No, he's piebald. Ooh, I've never actually gotten a morph before. How are you? Oh my god, he's so cute. Oh, oh, I love him. I don't think I've ever gotten an animal morph before, so that's fun. We'll definitely keep Anthony. Do we need to do anything with the rest of you? Get you guys on contraceptives just in case. I don't think we do, but when this litter matures, we probably need to we need to get rid of one. I think I'm okay to release one male. Yeah, just to get that under 450. So cute. And then the Hamadryas Baboons. What are you doing? It's over here. Oh, he's in the trade center. You don't have to worry about him. You have a couple that are old. You have one new litter. They have almost no population requirement. I think we can have like 50 of them before they start to get mad, and their exhibit is huge. So we shouldn't have any problems with them either. So the last thing you need to do in this place, and I know you really don't want to do it because you hate doing this part, you need to build a better gate in the back because this isn't it. So let's figure out how you want to do that. I think the way you want to do it to make it match with the rest is grab a concrete wall panel, give it a little, nope, wrong. Give it a little spin. And again, we're just we're freewheeling here. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is, what I want to make it look like, but I do know that I want a nice solid concrete base. So something like this, probably don't need random rotation. Something like this. Change the color so it matches the other stuff we've been doing in the habitat. Your theme up here is breeze block. But I don't know that I want to do breeze block for this. I know it's boring. But I actually think this is just kind of okay. Maybe put like some breeze block on the left and right for the join into the rockwork. Like over here. It just adds a little dimension to it. And then pull it out in the back as well. And then do the same thing over here. And over here. So something like that. Maybe pull this up one more time. And then give me wooden post? No, painted. Brace? Beam square. Yeah. Give me one of these. Have this sit along the top of the door. Paint it. A nice darker wood. And then just slide one of these guys over to here. Is that tall enough? We can find out. I mean, it's dead simple. But maybe dead simple's good. How you feeling about that? Dude, 10 feet my ass, man. Hamadryas baboons can't escape from anything. They do not care. I think this came out great, though. I really like it. I have really liked the last 3 exhibits that I've made, which means I'm probably due to, like, make one that does not look super great. But I love the caracals, I love the foxes, and I really like how this came out. It makes me look back on, like, I mean, I guess this one's okay. It looks kind of plain by comparison. You even have enough hard shelter? Yeah. Yeah, they're all set, man. They love everything about it. They do need more toy enrichment, but we're working on that. We still have a lot of research to go for these guys. But I think that's about gonna do it for this installment of Empirical Sahara. That is the last exhibit that we needed to put together. The, like, true exhibits with fences. that we needed to put together for the Horn of Africa section. Oh, I did want to put some shades in front of you guys, didn't I? I did. Let me go grab those out of the camel habitat. I think it would be cute to have them have a little bit of shade in front of these. Do I like that? Do I like that? I definitely like that. Except I want to slide you around a little bit so that you can't see the posts from the inside. So I definitely like that. And by extension, I definitely like this. And I need to move you a little bit. But then the question becomes, do I like this? And I think the answer is I kind of do. So, we should also color code this, because this is the Horn of Africa section. I have forgotten what African countries are actually in the Horn of Africa. We're going to do a quick Google. I know that we have done Somalia. Somalia is blue and white. I know that we've done Ethiopia. Ethiopia is red, green, yellow. Countries in Djibouti, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Somalia. I thought we did Ethiopia somewhere too. Was it this one? Yeah, you did one of them. That might have been Djibouti. That was Djibouti that you did for Caracals. Eritrea is green, red, blue with a little gold. So let's see if we can try and work that in here. We only have 2 channels. So we could do red gold. And we can say that's Eritrea. I feel like we'll probably want to rotate those. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we'll do this one red gold. We'll do this one red gold. And then this one we can do green blue. And then it's all 4 colors of the Eritrean flag. Green, and then maybe a nice light blue. I think, again, you might want to flip those. It's like a green and then like a blue. No, that still looks pretty bad. I think that's probably the best you're going to get. So, we have all 4 of the sovereign nations that are represented in the Horn of Africa in this section of the zoo. We have Eritrea, we have Djibouti, we have Ethiopia, and we have Somalia, which was one of my goals for putting this together in the first place. I just love how that has turned out. We have one more section to take care of in terms of exhibits. We have our Egyptian fruit bat that we need to put together. I don't think that's going to take a ton of time, but we'll find out. And then we have at least 1 detailing episode to do. We might do 1 very long detailing episode, maybe in the range of like 3 to 4 hours. Or I might split it up into 2. I'm not exactly sure which way I want to take it yet. But after we're done with that, that is going to be the Horn of Africa section done. So as of right now... Oh, shit, they get drums? Oh, that's neat. Okay. Hold on, I gotta add these. You can have a little bobbin drum over here. Or a regular bobbin, and then I guess you can have a bobbin drum over here that you can play with. Did you get anything else? No, that was it. Okay, man, they get a ton of toys. So there's a poll up on the channel right now if you are a subscriber to the Chef Plays More channel. That is a poll for the next section of the zoo that we should work on. That is going to be either 1 or 2 episodes away, depending on how much detailing I get done in the next episode. And the vote is going to be between this section of the zoo, roughly. It might end up going all the way around that corner. which is the Arid Savannah Trails. It is going to be African porcupine, African wild dog, and African elephant. Or we might take 1 to 2 episodes and put the penguin exhibit in here and finish this food court and finish this food court up and clean up a lot of the detailing in this middle section of the zoo. We've had it planned in basically since the first episode, but we've never done anything with it yet. So if you have an opinion on which direction the zoo should take for its development in the coming episodes, make sure... Ooh, I thought I fixed that. Hold on. Hold on. If you have an opinion for which way we should be doing that... How are you inbreeding? Oh, these must still be your youths. I need a new male addax as well. Hold on. That's your storage. Yeah, we can't have that. 6,000, 7,000. Are you out of your mind? I'll take one for 513. That works for me. And then we should also have some people ready in quarantine here. The point, before I was so rudely interrupted by my animals trying to inbreed, is if you have an opinion about which section of the zoo we should develop next, make sure you vote in that poll and you let me know. And then the last section of the zoo, regardless of which one we work on next, is going to be back here. It is going to be the Namib Desert, and it's probably going to take up this corner and this section of the zoo. It's going to be a little crammed in, but we're kind of running out of space. So that's the direction this is going to take. And then also when the zoo is totally done, when we're done with all the sections that we want to build in, I am also going to put this up on the workshop. If you want to fiddle around with it yourself, you will be able to download this entire zoo whole cloth, and you'll be able to get in and play around with it if there's something that I built that you didn't like, or there's just something that you want to change. So when that goes live, I will let you know, and I'll probably go into all of the older Planet Zoo videos and retroactively add a download link for them, if it's something that you want to take a look at. We're just going to wait for our addax to come out of... I never actually fixed the inbreeding problem, did I? So you get released to the wild. You're gone. And then as soon as Mahir is done, which apparently your quarantine is complete, but that UI says it's not. As soon as Mahir is ready to come out of quarantine, we're going to go ahead and get him put into the addax habitat, and then all of our animals should be in pretty good shape for another year of the zoo's operation. How did we do on ye olde Profitron here? We are down to only making $20,000 this year from $30,000 last year, but we spent a ton on our staff at the end of last episode, so that's not unexpected. And it also looks like we could be spending even a little bit more. So we might also give people a few raises here at the end before we ramp up completely. What else have my baboon friends got? Enrichment, habitat items, a forage box? Oh, I should've, if I knew a forage box was coming, man, I might still put one like here. I gotta wrap this episode up because I'm out of time. I hear myself getting pinged on GChat. But I would really like to get a forage box in here, and we might build a little forage box platform over here as well for them to use. I think that would be really cool. So before we wrap up, let's go ahead and promote just a couple staff. I don't want to take all my vets to 5. I might try and promote a bunch of my keepers. Maybe we should take care of you guys. Let's get all of our keepers up to 3 where we can. See if we can speed their work along a little bit. And then also make sure all of my educators are up to 4. Get my mechanics all up to 2. Get my caretakers all up to 2. Get my vendors all up to 3. We are spending a lot of money, but we make a lot of money. And when the African elephants come in, we're just going to make an absolute mountain of money. So I'm not super concerned about it. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I think for now, that is going to wrap up Eretz Aharon. I am really having a nice time making the zoo. I love how it's coming along. This is the biggest zoo that I've ever made at this point, whether it's something that I've recorded or otherwise. And I'm looking forward to continuing to put the finishing touches on it. So if you want to follow along with the development of the zoo, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and like the video to let me know that you're enjoying the series. If you have any suggestions for what we work on next or what we can detail in the Horn of Africa section, do feel free to leave a comment and let me know. Otherwise, that is the end of year 17, and I will see you in the next one when we get into some heavy detailing of all of these little back paths and meandering roads that make up the Horn of Africa section. I'll see you then, but until then, take care and enjoy the rest of your day.